Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Definitely appreciate the support. Sorry for the lack of uploads. I recorded like 5 or 6 different videos, and then I come to find out that the audio for all of the videos was messed up, and then in one of the videos the video only caught like half of the screen. Okay, so anyways, we get into a very interesting game. I ran across this guy. So I don't know if you know anything about Mutt. Let me go back a little bit, but there's this Champions card where you play like 25 games, okay, and then there's like a new season after the 25 games. So maybe I'll do a lot more of these because now we're under a new little season, and my very first game was against the guy that I circled below. And I thought it was very interesting because he ran bunch the entire game, and he ran the gimmicky, flip to play, audible to 4 strong, all of that. Okay. And what made it a little bit more interesting was he actually talked like trash. And I'm not gonna lie to you, man, that really like irritated me. Okay. I had finished drinking a little bit, so that probably added to it. But that really like irritated me because I hate when I play against players who obviously, got their entire scheme from looking up like glitchy plays on YouTube, and they just copy the meta and then they utilize that in game. And then when they make a big play, they get on the mic and they talk a lot of trash. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of irritating because, if you were to ask them some of the basic concepts of football, they wouldn't even know. You know what I mean? I actually got on the mic when he was talking trash, well, after he was done. And I asked him, hey, do you know the difference between soft squat and hard flat? Like, I'll ask little questions like that. You know what I mean? And he wouldn't even answer it. He just was just yelling at me and cursing at me and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It just kind of proves my point. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? So this was a game to where my offense. I showed this because he ran this. I don't know if I replayed it. I didn't. But there was a play that they evidently patched out to where players would shift the defensive line in and then hover over with this player, and this guy would come in scot-free like every single time, right? And it was obviously a miscoding of the game or whatever you want to call it, right? It's not like real football, etc. You would have to do a number of different things to deal with that. But theoretically, in real life, a concept like that would never be that hard to block up, okay? But I didn't notice it until after I looked at the replay that he actually did that on that play. Because I remember during the play, I was like, why the hell did I just get sacked so fast, right? And then I watched the replay and noticed that that's what he did. So anyways, we go to 4th down, I pick a play, and then he calls a timeout, right? So that's another thing that he was doing. This guy was like sweating his nuts off to win this game. He was calling timeouts. He was pressing start. So obviously, this game was, he really wants to win, So that's one thing I appreciate about Mutt. You get players that actually are trying like really hard to win games, and that aspect of it that I do like. So lo and behold, we go to so I ended up punting it after he called timeout. So I'm like, all right, let me just punt it. Let me rely on my defense, and my defense shined in this game. And I really do believe it's because of where I divert my resources as far as superstar abilities and stuff like that. Okay, and I'll get into that a little bit into this video. So right away, I noticed, I'm putting in my subs on a particular defense, and right away we see gun bunch offset. So our alarm bells don't necessarily go off, but it's worth thinking about. And I want you to know, when I play in Mutt, I really like try a lot of different things. I like to, I don't take it too seriously. I started taking it seriously when he was talking trash. So what I mean by that is, I was like, you know what, let me see if I can develop a cluster pressure package. So if you don't know what cluster is, definitely go check out the video I made on that. Okay, where in this play, we want him to match the final number 2, and then we match the final number 3. Okay, and I was trying to figure out a way, because I lab in real life, not real life, but I lab against actual players, not on the training camp. I lab against real players way more often than training camp. So this is where I try to figure out different pressure packages and etc. So I was trying to figure out one from this triple nickel formation. So I'm like, let me pick this, right? Okay, and lo and behold, our vert hook did not match the final number 2. And if you don't know why, go watch my cluster pressure video I think someone asked a question like, hey, I noticed this guy wasn't matching the final number 2 on a lot of the different plays. And I gave him a link to a video that I made in a different video to where a guy gives you the reason why it doesn't happen. So I want you guys to know that when you give comments in the videos, a lot of guys watching the videos, they actually appreciate the knowledge you guys give. So I definitely appreciate that aspect of my channel where a lot of knowledge is given in the comment section. I want you guys to know that. Okay, they really do appreciate reading some of the knowledge you guys give. Okay, so anyways, he dumped it off. We go to 2nd and 2. And then this is when I noticed, oh, wow, this guy is now motioning or shifting into bunch strong. And if you don't know what bunch strong or 4 strong, it's where you have, remember, you have a line down the center and you count 2, 3. So there's 4 receiving threats on this side of the field. And there's only 1 on this side of the field. And if you don't know, because it's Madden developers, they don't code the different aspects of defense that is in real life to deal with 4 strong. In 4 strong, you have like push calls and etc. to deal with the overload on this side of the field. But Madden they just don't decide to code that in for whatever reason. Either it's laziness or incompetence. I don't know what it is. So what happens is when you call like a match coverage, like cover 4 or whatever you want to call, originally they are in the box check, but when they motion or shift into 4 strong, then they just go into zone, spot drop zone, which is horrible, right? Now they can just high-low you to death on this side of the field, and you're done, okay? But I've come to notice, well, I'll get into that into this video, so, I don't want this to be too long. So I stayed in the cluster pressure because I didn't want to call a timeout and go through all that. I didn't take it that serious. So I'm like, look, let me try to man up some players and see if I can create something. And then he flips the play. So he shifts from bunch to 4 strong, and then he shifts the play to he flips to the other side. Now, realistically, I don't have a problem with that if we had the tools in the game to properly defend that, but we don't, right? So that's why I believe this is the meta. The only reason why things like this are the meta is because Madden doesn't give you the tools to defend it, right? It is not necessarily because players understand that Madden doesn't have the tools for you to defend it. They just, they copy and paste off of other players who have found this, and they run it because it works, but they don't know why it works, right? I can tell you right now, 4 strong and bunch is strong because Madden doesn't give the adequate tools necessary for you to deal with it. Now, obviously, I have a lot of different bunch defenses. Definitely go check it out, okay? But we shouldn't have to do some of the things I'm going to have to do in this video to make it work. But anyways, he ends up making a bad decision. My plan here, so I manned him up. I was hoping the second vert hook would maybe match the final number 2, okay? And I was just going to take the first crosser inside from the bunch side. Okay, so that's what happens, and as you can see, he throws it right to me, and we're able to get a pick. But as you can see, our man defender was running up with the man, our vert hook was sitting inside for this guy coming back across, and then obviously I overtook the drag inside. So we were able to get an interception, a defensive touchdown, I believe, and my defense was excellent in this game, and all he ran was bunch and 4 strong. So I had abilities here at the bottom left because I wanted to remind myself the pivotal part of this game, the biggest reason why my defense is very strong in this game is because of where I put my resources in the superstar column. So if you don't know, with the superstar, you're able to put X factors and abilities, the Pokemon stuff, where you put abilities on certain players. But I've noticed that you can only pick 3 players on the defense that you can put, those abilities on and activate them. And that's where you get the deep knock KO, I believe it's called, where, they act like Superman outside the numbers or whatever it is. My opinion is, I believe that you should divert your resources to the defensive line. So you see I don't know if that's on him, but I have 3 of my superstars on the defensive line. And here's the reason why, okay? Your defensive line can make your secondary better, okay? But your secondary cannot make your defensive line better. That's my opinion. And what I mean by that, well, you're actually going to see this in this game. So I'm just not going to run my mouth. You'll see it for yourself. So I believe we get a sack here, and you will notice consistently throughout this game, the pressure making my defense so much better. So look at, we get inside pressure by my defensive tackle. All right, so he's in bunch. I believe this is where I checked into 3 traffic, right? So if you don't know what 3 traffic is, definitely go check it out. It's a defense that plays like cover 1, with the exception of if one of these players were to drag inside. If they do, then it converts into like a pseudo cover 1 double, right? So there's different types of cover 1. You have cover 1 robber, you have cover 1 hole, right? You have different types of cover 1s. Well, you have cover 1 double, where like you have a deep middle safety, and then you're doubling with that remaining safety on a particular player. Well, that's how 3 traffic plays out, depending on what they run. It will either play like cover 1 hole, or it will play like cover 1 double. So why don't I draw a route combination really quickly. Let's say they were to run something like this, where he runs a corner, and let's say he runs dig, and let's say he runs out. Okay, so you have to use this player, and I manned up the apex on the 3. That's why I call it 3 traffic, 3, 2, 1. And basically what's going to happen is he's going to man him up because he's locked on this player. Okay, and he's going to take the out player, and then he would take the in. Okay, and with us post snap, we're looking at the 2 and the 1 to see if one of them runs a drag. If they don't, then we just play in the middle of the field. We're playing a whole like a robber player in the middle of the field, and then he's playing a deep third, right? And this would just play out like cover 1 man with a hole. On the flip side of that, if we were to get something like this, drag, let's say he runs a corner, let's say he runs an out. Okay, remember, we are looking at the 2 and the 1, the 2 that are not manned up, and to see if one of them drags. Because he drags, we have to take that route. That's our man, right? So we would overtake the drag, and this would turn into cover 1 double. Okay, and what would happen is, obviously he would run with the out because he's man to man, and now these 2 players will double the corner, right? So it turns into cover 1 double. So 3 traffic is my base bunch defense because it plays so well. I've gotten so many interceptions with this defense against bunch, and I'm pretty sure if some of you guys have implemented this into your game, you've gotten some pretty good results. So definitely use it. So I used it here, and what do you know? He's now flipping the play, right? So one of the benefits of 3 traffic is you can get into it pretty quickly if you've utilized it a lot, okay? And one issue I noticed here in this game is because it's ran on the left side of the field, this guy didn't necessarily match the out. Okay, but I believe here we still get an interception. So we'll take a look and see what happens. Okay, no one runs on that drag, so I play in the middle of the field. And as I stated earlier, notice how the out, he didn't take the out, and that's one of the problems with bunch being ran on the left side of the field. But lo and behold, our opponent, look how he's stepping up in the pocket. I think he's cognizant of the pressure, okay, which is obviously playing with his head. He makes this throw, and we're playing underneath that, and we get the interception. Okay, so good defense, and I will always celebrate after an interception against an opponent who's running like gimmicky stuff. Okay, so anyways, I didn't play too well in this game at all. On that play, I threw it a little bit late, and you guys know that the recovery rate of user defenders is really kind of unrealistic in this game. So he was able to get a touchdown on that because he started his drive on like the 8. Okay, so I wouldn't hold that on the defense. It's really on the offense. Okay, so I don't know if this was the next drive. Oh, here I noticed he was in 2-man, so I audibled into our PA wheel play. And at the snap of the ball, I was looking at this to throw this route over here, and I noticed that he doubled the slot receiver, and this threw me off. Because I'll never, like in the middle of the play, I'm like, what the hell? Like in the middle of the snap, I was like, wow, he actually doubled the slot. So my brain was like, okay, you got to go to the other wheel, and he's wide open, right? So of course I'm going to throw that right, and I pressed the wrong button because he's wide open. And if you don't believe me, trust me, if you go watch the video on this scheme, against two man, you're either looking here or here. And for whatever reason, I threw this middle, and he's able to get a pick. And then he started talking trash, and this really irritated me. It really did. Okay, I don't know why. Well, I think I know why, but it just really irritated me. Okay, so anyways, we'll move on. So now we kind of got an understanding of what he is doing. Okay, he's running bunch, but then he will shift into 4 strong. All right, so you can't play 3 traffic against 4 strong, right? Because on this side of the field, they are not going to match any routes when they do that. So what do we have to play against a player who will do that? We have to play a defense that will have some matching principles against regular bunch, but will also have some matching principles against 4 strong. Now you may say, well, wait a minute now. No defense matches against 4 strong. Well, actually, cover 9 has some matching concepts in the game of Madden against 4 strong. It's weird, okay? So a lot of the times they will play zone drop, but you will see in this game, we do get some matching stuff going on, okay? So basically, we're playing sort pretty much the entire game. If you don't know what sort is, it's a bunch defense that I went over in one of my videos. Definitely go check it out, okay? Check out bunch defense playlist, scroll down to sort, and you can get some tidbits on how to play sort. So I'm in cover 9, and when I play against 4 strong and I play cover 9, what I do is I man up the backside defender, and usually I put him into a hard flat, but I've come to realize that I should just keep him in a soft squat, and that's where we can get some matching stuff as well. Okay, and my whole idea with this is, we get the deep half here, soft squat, vert hook. Against certain route concepts, you know, I would hope that this guy matches the number 2, but I've noticed against bunch, he kind of really doesn't in 4 strong. Okay, but the biggest thing I noticed when I went to the lab with cover 9 against 4 strong, maybe about 3 weeks ago, so I gotta go back into the lab, is I noticed that this player would match the under from the bunch, the number 4, the final number 4 underneath. Okay, so what that means is, if I know, because I'm going to use this player, if I know you're going to take the under from the bunch, then I can play like sort. I'm just going to match the final number 3, right? So we can draw up a route combination here where, let's say we get flat, he goes in, and let's say we get something like this. Or maybe we get a corner with him and then he runs the flat, right? Well, you would hope he would deal with the flat. We would have the deep half. Theoretically, in real life, you would want him to match the final number 2. I would hope he would match that, okay? And then you would take the 4th, and I would take the final number 3, right? So, you know, again, if the game kind of helped us out with, you know, putting in stuff to where they match against 4 strong, we would have answers for it, and it would not be the meta because you would have the proper tools to deal with it, right? But the fact that I found at least 3 weeks ago that he actually matched with it, and that's why I can actually throw in my own rules with other players, and that's how I kind of develop defenses against formations that give us problems like this. But I've noticed recently he does not match that under, right? So that was my plan here. So I did exactly that. I manned up that player over there. I put our corner in hard flat, and I'm looking for, always let the first one go and take the second in. So I let him go, and I'm looking for this guy coming in. And unfortunately, we don't get what we wanted to there, but we do get an incompletion. So then, you know, now I can kind of flip stuff. How about we put this safety here and man on the sole receiver, and then I just have to match the final number 3 because there is no deep half safety here to deal with something coming over the hash there, right? So if we get a final number 3, now I have to take that. So that was my plan here. Then he motions that player out there, so now he's doing all types of things, but I don't know what I'm doing here. I have to get on the 3 rec. So I messed up here. I messed up big there, but luckily we didn't get something going over the middle of the field. Okay, and this is where I also messed up here as well. He's going to take this, and I should have climbed upfield to take the outside shoulder of this throw. So this was an interception, and I was just not on my game there. Okay, but we're going to get into some interesting stuff. And here we're going to get into sort pressure. Okay, again, I didn't lab this up. This is, again, I lab during the games. So here I'm thinking, okay, he's going to go 4 strong again. Okay, so what if we just manned up this guy on this player here, and then we take the backside safety and blitz him, right? Now, what does that require us to do? Because this middle of the field here, in between the hash and the numbers, is wide open for attack. As well, actually, this from the left hash to the numbers is wide open. Well, then that's when we have to match the final number 3, right? So that's why it's important to kind of understand your rules. And when you understand your rules, you know where you can bend the rules in the coverage, right? So I'm just going to man this guy up and then bring him on a blitz, hoping I can kind of develop some pressure and then match the final 3 from the bunch side, right? And you will see me get direct pressure from this. So this may be a pressure package that you can throw into the bag against 4 strong, right? So I got to go into the lab and fine tune it, but you will see it here. Oh, and so I make that shift there, so that's important. So we get our shift. So basically what I think happens is, I believe maybe the center gets tied up here, right? Which puts a 2-on-3 on this side of the field. Because you're going to see the safety come in scot-free here. Okay, and that's what pressure is. That's exactly what happens. That is exactly what happens. The center steps left, so now we get a 2-on-3 on this side of the field. That's just beautiful. And we get a sack. So this is a pressure you can throw in against 4 strong. What you do is you call cover 9. You bring the safety down. I put him right over the lone receiver. And obviously, you got to man him up. Because if you don't, he's just going to zone drop. And this guy can run a skinny post wide open, right? Okay? And you blitz him. And your responsibility, you have to match the final number 3. That's your job. If somebody runs a drag, you let him go. Because, again, we're hoping that he takes 4, the final number 4 from the bunch. That's his responsibility. You are matching the final number 3. Okay, and you will see later on in this game, we do get matching principles from this side against 4 strong. So cover 9 is the go-to against 4 strong bunch. Okay, so we'll watch it again and you'll see the pressure. So we got to make that shift. We got to get into this underfront. We get a 1, a 3. He's outside. And then we get the pressure. So I don't remember what formation this is. I think it's the nickel. We'll see. Yeah, it's nickel 2-4. Cover 9, shift weak, bring the safety down, blitz him, and you're good to go. So I believe this was where he gets a touchdown. Okay, he's going to score 21 points. And all 21 of his points came from either, remember, the 7 came from me throwing an interception and him starting at the 8. And you will see 2 of his other touchdowns be exactly from exactly what's going to happen right here. I believe this is it. So I'm setting up my defense again, and he snaps the ball right away. So quick hiking. So this is good strategy, where one moment he's playing bunch, and then he shifts, and then he flips, and then he flips again. And then the next moment while you're trying to set up your players, because you think you're going to have enough time for him to do that because he's doing a lot of things pre-snap, he just hurry up and he snaps the ball. And what's the problem here? Well, he's the deep half safety. I was going to bring him under pressure, and then take the 3 rec and match the final number 3. So this is good because you get to see why you have to match the final number 3 and why you have to use it as player, right? Because what would have happened here? I would have been in this window here, matching the final number 3, right? And what do I mean by final number 3? At the beginning of the play, he might have been labeled as number 2, right? But after the pass distribution, you count outside in, this is the final number 3. I would have been matching this player. But because I'm not on the 3 rec and I got caught trying to put him into a blitz and then move over, he quick hiked and he's just wide open for that easy throw, and eventually he scores. So anyways, I don't remember what happened here. Let's see. So I played horribly in this game on offense, but I chose to show this because I loved the footwork I had in the pocket to throw this touchdown on the post. Look at me step up to the left, right over the top. Good stuff. So he runs bunch 4 strong again. I believe I'm in. I think, no, this isn't a mistake, right? Because we don't want to give up a big touchdown with 26 seconds left. I don't remember what happened here. Let's see. Okay, so this is why I showed this. So then he started doing where, okay, I'm in bunch 4 strong, but now I'm going to motion into empty 1-2. And what's the problem with this? Well, the problem is because I manned him up one-on-one and he's quarters, okay? I felt it necessary that we have to man up this player so we don't get like a busted coverage, okay? So that's what I did. And if I do that, now I have to make sure that I match the final number 3 here, okay? So that's what I did. I matched actually, the final number 3 for the bunch. And he throws underneath. So I just showed that. Oh, and then I showed it because of this. Look at the flag. We get a flag. And I was wondering, well, what is the flag for? Because I didn't pass interference or nothing like that. And what do you know? Holding. So what does that mean? Because you never see that. That means that my opponent went to the adjustments and he put pass blocking on aggressive. And they only do that if they are not getting enough time because the defensive line is torching his offensive line. So again, we see the benefits of putting your resources in the superstar category on your defensive line. Okay, you may want to get away from just putting your guys in deep knot KO and all that. You may want to start resorting to putting your resources on the defensive line. If you have 3 monsters up front, you're going to cause a lot of problems for your opponent. Okay, and you will see probably more of that in this game. So third quarter, again, now I'm just staying in cover 9 because he may motion into 4 strong, right? And he does. And then he motions into empty, right? So now I put the safety man-to-man with him, and now I definitely have to match the final number 3 because we don't have a safety to cover in between the hash and the numbers over there. Snap the ball. So again, I'm not biting on this. I'm waiting for something to come across to man it up. And again, look at the pressure, guys. Again. So we're going to see, look at our guys over here. Look at the spin move, right? Forcing him to move up in the pocket. And then we get the hit and interception. And he popped open. And you may say, well, that's bad defense. No, not if, again, it took a while for him to get all the way across. And if you have a defensive line, you're never going to have enough time to do that, right? So I really do think that is a lost art in Madden. Again, because Madden kind of makes it to where the defensive line isn't all that great with a lot of teams that you play. But in MUT, you're able to kind of super power some players. Why not invest those resources on the defensive line? So you can kind of create what it really is like in the league, where you just don't have 6 and 7 seconds to make a play, right? So I don't remember what happened here. So he flips the play again. So the benefit of playing cover 9 is, look, I can just flip my play. And now we are still playing our responsibilities in the sort clip. And I overtook that, and the pressure came in again, guys. So 2nd and 14, he shifts into 4 strong. So again, I'm playing with different things. I'm putting that deep half safety in man-to-man. And again, I have to match the final number 3, right? And this is the benefit of playing sort, right? In sort, because we are matching the final number 3, we can do whatever we want with that backside safety, Okay, but when you don't match the final number 3 with this player, you're forced to keep this guy in his quarter zone because he's gonna pin over to match the post. Okay, but when we are matching the final 3, we don't need him to do that. So we can do a number of things, and this is why I brought him down and manned him up, and now we got kind of like a double team going if this guy were to go upfield, etc. Right? So it's a way to kind of confuse your opponent, even in 4 strong. So I don't know what he's doing. And look how I'm definitely playing in the middle for that. I'm playing that guy all the way. This guy looks like he's popping open because remember, he was man-to-man on the safety. But again, pressure. He just does not have the time. So this was his second touchdown, his third touchdown. So remember, the first touchdown is because of my interception. He started here. Second touchdown was because of quick hike. And now his third touchdown will be because of a quick hike, right? So this is what I mean by my defense was phenomenal in this game. So he got me there again, right? I was pissed off because it was like, wow, man, the only way you're scoring is because you're quick hiking the ball, so I can't even adjust, right? Or make adjustments. So that's fine. Here, my offense was horrible in this game. I was just making a lot of mistakes. But here I noticed it looked like 2-man. Okay, and he was doing a lot of different adjustments with the second and third level. So this is where I check into the Slout Concept on this side of the field. I have a video on that. Definitely go check it out. You have to have the slant off the LOS and the out on the LOS. Okay, and I made sure to put my back into a route going away from this concept, because if you don't, usually the opponent will play a defender man-to-man on the back. So if I have the back going this way and he floats this way, he can get into the window of the slant, right? So you'll see it here. 5 seconds left. I have to hurry up and get him on a route away from the concept, right? I don't like that when I do that. He looks this way, right? Why not be, it is what it is. Snap the ball. And look, the back going this way slightly hesitates him, opening up, so he just doesn't get in the window of the slant. And if you don't know why that opens up against 2-man, definitely go check it out. But basically against 2-man, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get rub routes. That's one of the weaknesses of 2-man. So he goes bunch offset again. And obviously I'm going to stay in cover 9 because if he flips, I can flip. If he goes 4 strong, I have adequate defense to play against it. We're not spot dropping for the most part. And this is a sort variation. I threw this in here. Okay, so this is me thinking on the fly. I'm like, why don't we man, because he's in 4 strong again. What if we man up the weak side and then we put this guy in a mid read? Okay. Or I put him into a hook curl. And what I was thinking was, so now I remember what I was thinking. Yo, man on up. I was thinking, well, what if, I know he's not going to be a 3-up, right? Because we have to user him to do that. But what if we keep him on his 3-rec and then we just play 3-up, right? And you will see he will actually match the back coming this way, right? Look how he matches that. And now I'm waiting for number 3 inside, right? Now, that, there's inconsistencies in that defense against certain things. Look, holding again, that's because my defensive line was causing so many problems. But the reason why I showed that is because there's just so many different things you can do to kind of, you don't have to play just stock cover 9. You can do a number of different things, but if you know where you can bend the rules, okay, then you can be, a little bit more creative in your attack against 4 strong and bunch and all that, right? So obviously, I really love that pressure package that I showed earlier. I want to get into the lab and fine tune that, right? But then you just kind of add more stuff to it. So he's in bunch again. And I believe we get some matching principles here. We don't. But he popped open, but again, pressure. Nothing beats pressure from your front 4, guys. Look at, I have my stars on the defensive line. I don't have my stars on the back end at all. Again, your defensive line makes the back end better. It's not the other way around. Okay? So, I don't want deep knock KOs on my players. I think it's corny, anyways. You know, I don't want to alienate anyone, but I think, stuff like that is just kind of like foolish to me. Okay, because to me, it's just kind of like not realistic. But having monsters on the defensive line, it just makes these guys so much better because you just don't have the time, right? If he had the time, that's wide open. Okay, that is wide open, but he doesn't, right? So we get a sack. This guy, 2 sack. I mean, this game alone, showed to me how much of a problem a front four can really pose. I mean, think about the undefeated Patriots when they had Moss and Welker and all that. The only reason why they lost that Super Bowl is because of the front four, Michael Strahan and company, getting pressure with the front four. The Patriots just could not function as an offense. Well, the same range true in Madden. If you can get pressure with the front four, the problem in the game is you really can't. But I think in Mutt, you can by putting abilities on these guys. Okay. So anyways, I'm in cover 9. Obviously, I'm matching the final number 3. So again, we're not biting on anything underneath. We're looking to deal with something up the middle of the field, and we get matching concept on that set. Look, he's in 4 strong, and we get a matching concept. And this will be why. Okay. What I think happens is he blocks the back. Now, why do you think he's blocking the back? This is a compound effect from the defensive line. Okay? He blocks the back because he just does not have time. He wants more in the back end. But then it creates a compound problem for his offense. When you block the back, well, now you're only releasing 4 into routes and not 5. And that limits the amount of space that the offense creates, right? Okay? Because if you think about it, let's say we have 2 players over here. And I run a curl and he runs a flat, right? And I have a defender. Imagine he's not here. Okay, imagine we have an outer third corner and we have a curl flat player, right? Well, when we run this concept, you defend the curl, well, I throw the flat. If you defend the flat, well, I throw the curl. It's wide open, okay? But in that situation, let's say that for whatever reason, we have to keep this guy in the block because the defensive line is just creating so much pressure here. And we have this curl going, okay? Well, imagine he's not here. We have the corner. Well, when he comes out, he can just defend the curl, right? He's not being stretched or put into a conflict. And then it's like a compound effect. And the reason why he isn't is again, because you're taking a player that you would originally put into the flat to help block into the backfield. Maybe you had the back going out to the flat, but now you keep him in and you think that helps you out. But in actuality, it kind of makes your passing game suffer because now players in zones are not being stretched, right? Spacing is everything. An offense is trying to create space. A defense is trying to constrain space. So when an offense brings in players to help block, you're just not stretching defenders on the back end, right? So what happens here is he blocks the back. And I think the game has it to where, okay, since you don't have 4 strong because one stays in the block, now we can kind of match routes up the field. And that's what happens. Soft squat matches the final number 1. Look at that. He matches them. The vert hook matches the final number 2. Right? And that's against bunch 4 strong. And I really do think, did I get that wrong? Let's go back because where's the back at? Let's watch the back. So I think I went too far. But no, okay. So this is it, I think. I flipped the play. Yeah, he stayed in the block. So thinking on this now, I mean, this is where you can kind of design rules. What if we as a 3-rec, we actually key the back? Okay, if he goes out into a route, then what's your job? Match the final number 3. That's because the vert hook is not going to match the final number 2, right? Because someone's in the flat. However, if he stays in the block, then we really don't have to match the final number 3, I don't think. Well, we do. But if 3 goes underneath, then we can actually just We can drive on that. And the reason why that is because 2 will match the final number 2, and he's going to match the final number 1. You're not really afraid of something over the deep middle of the field, as you'll see here, right? There's no reason for me to be here, right? And it's all because the back blocked and the number 3 went inside, which only leaves 2 threats here, and we're able to deal with that, right? So, I mean, you're just kind of like, this is just my brain, you know? It's kind of like a jungle, I guess. But this is where you kind of like, you're like building a defense that it morphs to what the offense does, right? We want to avoid situations to where I'm in no man's land defending nobody. And you need to ask the question, why am I in the middle defending nobody? And the reason why is because, again, the route combination that they have with 4 staying underneath, blocking the back. Okay, so then you just develop rules like I just went over. So, you know, I'll stop running my mouth. He throws the interception, and I was talking heavy trash right here because he really irritated me earlier, man. I don't know why he irritated me so bad. And lo and behold, I threw an interception. So my offense played like trash, but my defense played like warriors, right? And again, it's because of this front 4 here, right? We see in this game the compound effects of having a crazy front 4. So here I was like, you know what? Why don't I do something different? I'll put that backside safety into a mid read, and then maybe I can do things underneath. So I was thinking about things on the fly here. Okay, so we should get the pressure again. He couldn't do anything, guys. Like he struggled. So, you know, I can guarantee you if you're struggling against an offense and you tried a lot of different things, you know, the biggest thing is probably because they have a lot of time to do different things. So here, I don't know what I was doing here. Again, I'm sitting here waiting for the final number 3 because I know the 3 rec will not take him. Where's the 3 rec? Let me go back. Let's take a look and see what happens. So I'm in cover 9. He flips the play. This is why I play cover 9 against this, because I could just flip my play and we're still sound. Emotions out there. So what happens if I leave it like this? This is why I did this. It's because they're playing quarters on this side of the field, right? He's going to read 2 to 1. He's going to read 1 to 2. But for whatever reason, I didn't want that. I wanted him just man up on him so I can free up this player and do different things with him on the front side. So that's what I chose to do here, and that makes sense there. So, you know, I know he's not going to be the final 3. So I will take the final number 3. So let's see what the 3 rec does here. That's just beautiful, right? He takes the drag. He takes the final number 3 if he goes under, right? And we're just sitting in the middle waiting to help out on something from the final, right? The final player hitting up the middle of the field. He just had nowhere to go there. And then we get a sack, 3rd and 16. Okay, he's doing that funky stuff again. So my plan here, we'll just man up the backside. I know you're not going. I mean, the biggest thing about all of these plays is who's going to match the final number 3. I know you're not going to, so I'm going to match the final number 3. Okay, and I'm able to do that because we are manned up on these players. It's not like someone's going to run scot-free up the field. Okay, but because I'm in a press here, you got to keep the illusion that there's a deep half safety over here. Because if I were to just align over here, he would see this and then maybe attack deep. Okay. So I move at the snap of the ball. I move inside, looking for the final. And look at that pressure. Right? He just had nowhere to go, guys. So this will be the final play. End of the video. And again, the pressure will reign supreme again. You will see the benefits of it. My plan here was just to match the final number 3 from the front side. And, you know, the reason why I'm able to get away with this as well, one of the weaknesses of this type of concept to where I'm matching the final 3 with the backside safety is that this player is one-on-one and this player is one-on-one with this guy, right? But because my opponent never attacked the weak side, then we can get away with a defense like this to where we're overloading the strong side, right? Because he's constantly trying to attack strong. So you got to notice things about that when you play against opponents who sit and bunch all day. They go to 4 strong bunch all day. Think about it. Do they ever attack the solo receiver side? If the answer is no, well, then there's no point in you keeping 2 defenders over there. Why not take a backside safety and overload the strong side to give more defenders on this side of the field? Or you can do, different things like bring him down under pressure like I did earlier, right? Because we're unafraid of him attacking the solo side one-on-one, okay? And that's one of the weaknesses of 3 traffic. When you play 3 traffic, deep middle, hole, right? Both of these players are one-on-one. So when I play against an opponent who will attack backside and they get real successful with it, I'm really I shy away from the traffic concept, okay? But the one benefit of 3 traffic is, it gives the illusion that you're in a double high safety defense. Okay, so, they still have to read post snap to attack backside. Okay, so anyways, final play. Look how he's stepping up in the pocket because of the pressure, guys. And is there anywhere to go with this ball? Maybe an inside deep throw here, right? But our defender is kind of top shoulder on that, so he might be able to make a play on the ball. He steps too far up. So rest assured, you better believe I was talking heavy trash here. Heavy trash. I was getting on him right there. And I couldn't help myself because he really he rubbed me the wrong way earlier on in the game. And I believe this is where he was like, I'm done. And he just left. So I'll leave it at that. I hope you guys got something from this video. And hey, I hope you keep coming back for more, man. Peace.